Hi everyone, CG here, and we are back for another Fluent 2.0 tutorial. Today we're going to reproduce this hatch. So my strategy here, first of all, we're going to start with the base here, so the dark part. I'm going to make the simple cuts over there and over there. And as you can see here, we have like a border on the top, and for this one we're gonna do it at the end because we're gonna go destructive and do it with default Blender operations. So let's go. All right, so let's start by creating a shape. So first of all, I'm gonna make it square, so you can make it like this. Press shift to draw from the center, and then make it like that. Good. So that's nice. You can right click and add a bevel here. Good. So we have some cuts here and here that you can see. And we're going to do it by making a simple cut on the side. So something like that, actually. And then you cut just a bit. If you want to change again the thickness here, you can press S. Then it will go like this. And then we can press M, mirror it here. And I think that's good. We have also on the front, we have a cut. So I'm going to make it here. This one is a little bit smaller. So it's good. All right. So next, what do we have? We have corners that are like this. So we can actually do it by editing this. So go to edit here and then press B and then press C. And then this will make it one segment bevel. So good. I think for the base, we are pretty good because the border, as I said on the top here, we're going to make it at the end. So yeah. So let's do now the cover here, the white parts. So we're going to make a square first, and then we're going to do the rest. So like we did here, creation, show the grid. Make sure you don't select the object when you do a creation because it will create on top of it. Here we can just do this. We can press Ctrl and Shift to draw from the center and keep it square. So I think like that. Then make it something like this. We can press G, Z, and move it up. And we good. So we also have those corners here. So we're gonna use the same technique with the bevel. Press B and then make a bevel. Press C to make it straight. And we good. The faces here on the side are actually a little bit like this. To do that, we're going to use the taper tool. So if you hold click and go to taper, and then you click here, we're going to be able to bend those faces. And you see here, so you need to adjust it until it stops clipping like this. Then you can just click. We could. So we can validate this, and we're going to right click. So here also we add a bevel, and then we see that here the bevel is actually clipping, and this is not working very well. So we're going to just go to the Fluent edit and again go to the taper and then move it until we have the bevel here. I think we can just make it a little bit smaller. So we can just press S and then reduce it like this. And then we need to adjust again the taper and boom. The top part, I'm gonna move on the front like this and then press J, Z and move it just on top of it. Good. I'm gonna go to the top view and I'm gonna move it on Y axis. So we have space here to put this part that we have here. So now we need to make this top part. So to do that, really simple. You can just click on the pencil and it will continue drawing on this. So with the rectangle tool, we're gonna make it like that. And I think we can go from here and then we will move it afterward. So like that. And then, yes, good. Now you're gonna add a bevel. So press B and don't move the mouse. Just press X to deselect all the corners. And we're gonna select this by pressing X and pointing the cursor at it. So just before it does this, you do this. So we have this circle shape. And as you can see, it also have this face oriented like a diagonal. So we need to use the taper again. And here again, we're gonna make it just before it clips. I think if you hide here the boolean, you can see better when it's start flickering. So like that. Good. Well, I think we're pretty good with this. And now we can actually draw on this. So now we're gonna make it this part. So simple cut. To draw on the scatter, you can just press Shift and click on this. And this will actually cut directly on the last cut that we made. And then cut it a little bit inside. As you may have seen here, we have a circle and we cannot see the other side, but we see that here this cut is actually also around here. So we actually need to cut what we just cut. So we need to cut this rectangle like this, so it makes like a circle over there. To do that, hold Shift and click on this icon. And now we're going to draw on this cutter. Circle, we select the circle and we draw from here. As you can see, we need to go a little bit bigger than the width of here. We have shading problem, and this is because those segments over there are pretty close to those here. To fix that, we can just play with the resolution of the circle and see if we can fix it. And if we can't, then we're gonna fix it later. So go to the resolution and try to play with it until you don't have any issues. And as you can see here, it seems to be good. So that's pretty cool. All right, so this is good. We can just right click. So to show the boolean and hide the boolean, you press greater than, lower than, or you can just go here. It does the same. On the example that we have, we also have those chamfered faces from the inside. So to reproduce that, you already know how to make it. We're going to show the Boolean by pressing greater than, lower than. Select this Boolean, press F and go to edit. We can go to the taper and then bend it like this, just before it clips, like we do with the others. You will see that this cut is actually not using the taper, and it's not like it's still straight, right? The reason for that is because Fluent is actually ordering here. The modifiers are in a certain order, and this cut is made after the taper. So we're gonna just right click right now, and then if we select this, we're gonna actually move here the Boolean on top of it. And now everything is using the taper. So for the top part, I think we're pretty close to this result. And now we're gonna make the sides. So I think the bevel here is a little bit too big, so I'm gonna reduce it like that. So we have like more sharp angles. To do the sides easy, just make a rectangle cut. Boom, not too deep. And then to make those shapes over there and here, for example, we're gonna just cut the cutter. So to cut the cutter, just hold shift, click on this icon, and then we're gonna cut it with the shape. So if you shift right click, you can now do this and we can cut it. And then hold shift click to validate and cut this. Good. We're gonna this time just click, don't shift click, just click, and we're gonna keep cutting this. So to make those bars around here and here, we're gonna use the shape tool and probably do something like that. Click here, and then you press spacebar, and then you go to the left, and this will create only one line. So that's cool. We can change the thickness, and we have an artifact here, but we will fix it just after that. So press M, mirror, and we have some pretty cool shapes over there. Actually, I'm gonna move it. So I'm gonna press G, Y, and then move it like that. Good. So I think it's good for this part. We can just right click, and we're gonna fix the shading issues. To do that, you select this object, show the wireframe, and as you can see, Blender added a lot of lines around here, and we only want one in the middle. So we go to edit mode, and then we press Ctrl R, and then place it in the middle. We just shift click, and we're good to go. So that's pretty cool. We can just select the object and hide the wireframe again. Great. So you can actually mirror it to the other side, or you can make a new one. Here, I will let you make a new one so you can exercise on that. For this one, I'm gonna just mirror it to the other side. And because I mirror this cutter and not the other ones, it will automatically be cut because this is a mirror object. So I will let you make your own. Good. So next step is this part around here. So to do that, I'm gonna actually go a little bit destructive this time. So we're going to use the cutter first. And I'm going to increase the resolution of the grid by holding V and going to the right a little bit more and draw from the middle here. And we want something that goes a little bit up like that. All right, so now press A and array it like this. Good. So this is good, but on the reference, this is rounded here on the top. So to do that, we just right click and then I'm gonna actually lower the bevel a bit. If you show here the booleans and select this one, you will realize that if you go to edit mode, it is just a plane and it is here. So we are not really able to make a bevel. So to do that, we're gonna actually apply the first solidifier, and then we're gonna be able to edit here. If you go to edge mode and select those two, you press Ctrl B, then we're gonna be able to bevel it. So you press C to clamp it, and then it's fine. We can go back to object mode, and we're gonna add a modifiers. This is a weld modifier to fix the shading on the top. So now we have the rounded parts. So we're gonna cut here, circle, so press F, cut, and around here we can cut a circle like that, and you can press V to actually go through the entire object and validate. Good. So we need some kind of bar here, so we can reuse this cutter and press F and shift click on this button, and this will extract the Boolean object and create a new object from this. So that's pretty cool. And now we can just adjust the thickness to make it fit. And I think that's good. We can go to the top view to see better, and here. So we add a bevel to it, and we have the bar. So now we need to connect these two together. So let's look at the reference, and we see here it is actually going a little bit up, and then it is connected to this bar. So for the connected part, we're going to actually use the cutter and show the grid on this face. The thing is, we want a bevel like this that is straight, so we need to rotate the grid to make it like this. So rotate by 90 degrees, and then you can draw from here, something like that. Click, and then now you realize that this is not centered. So you just make it like that, and then you go to the top view, you press S to adjust the thickness, but this time you press C, and this will change the offset. So you make it something like that, then you press C again to adjust the thickness, C again to adjust the middle point. Good. So you can validate, and then we can make a bevel. So press B for bevel, X to deselect all the corners, and then select this one, and we're going to select also this one. So this time we want to make it straight, so press C, and then like this. So you need to just find the middle point where you are happy with it. So I think this is good. We're gonna make it a little bit here, so we can just press G and Y to move it like this. And here we have an artifact. This can be fixed if you go to edit mode and then you press SY to scale it a little bit like that. You go back here, we have a different problem, but this will be fixed later on. So we can just right click. Great. So let's fix this shading issue. Show the wireframe, and here this causing the problem. Now the thing is, to fix shading issues, we usually add an edge on the main object like we did here. But this time you need to think of what is the Boolean object or the object that is creating this face. And right now, this is not this object here. And this face is actually created by this Boolean over here. So you need to add the edge loop on this one. So if you go to edit mode, you can press Ctrl R and make it in the middle by right click. Now if you press Shift F, it will go back to object mode. And as you can see now, the shading issue is gone and the edge is added properly. So we can hide the Boolean and we can hide the wireframe. So we have a pretty cool edge here. We now need to add like a handle here. So let's cut this. Right click, circle, middle here. So let's keep it like that. And we're good to go. We're gonna actually right click, show the booleans, select this one, and as we did for the other part, we can just shift click on this, select this object, hide the booleans, add a bevel, and then you can just move it on the z-axis and reduce the bevel because this is way too high. And now you can make a really cool handle by just cutting into the shape like that. And then I'll let you be creative right here, but there are multiple ways of doing it. You can just simply add an object here like a cube, then you scale it, move it here, boom. This is usually what I do when I want to make handles. So I start with a basic cube, then I scale it, and then I just cut into it. So GZ, move it up, make it thinner. And don't forget, if you do that, the scale in object mode, to actually Control A and then apply the scale over here. Because if you then add a Boolean here, it will look weird if you don't apply the scale first. So make sure you do that. So I usually do that, and then I use the cutter here, and then I use the shape. And if I press Control, it will automatically snap to 45 degrees. So we could make something like this, and then shift click, cut it. And this is not centered, but if you press M and do this, it will be in the middle. So that's a basic handle, but you can obviously personalize it and make some more cuts. I'm gonna not spend any more time on this handle, and I'm gonna show you how to make the keyboard that we have over here. And I will use the same technique as CGSalt use in his tutorial of the case. For this one, I'm gonna make it here, not on the base part, but at the same technique. You can just use a slice here and then draw a rectangle like that. So we have the keyboard, and we have like these keys. So first we can just right click, select the slice, and we're going to use the cut this time. So we do this, and to make squares we hold shift and control. We go a little bit down, and we're going to use the array like this. Press A, press C to change the number of elements, and C again to adjust the spacing. We validate this axis, and now we click on this axis. We're going to press C, C again, click, click. We're going to go to the top view and move it a little bit on X. Again, we have shading issues. Like usual, we're going to fix them after that. I'm going to cut here the other keys. So I'm going to click here. And then we have, as you can see, the enter button and the 0. So enter button here. And then again, press here without shift, of course. And then you can press this, make the 0 button. And this is working pretty well. We can right click. I'm gonna reduce the bevel. And you see, reducing the bevel is actually fixing this issue and not this one, but I can just show the wireframe, show the booleans, go to the top view, edit mode, and as usual, if you Control R, now you can put your lines and align them directly with the keys. Make sure that this line, for example, is not too close to this one because it will create issues. Then you need to select the edges that you just created, and you can just Shift F. And boom, shading issues are gone. Good, so now we need to make the keys. So to do that, we're going to use the extract option like we did with the handle. You can just shift click on this, and we have keys. We add small bevel, and we can even select them, G, Z, and then move them up a bit. And we just do the same with this one. Shift click, add the bevel, move it up a little bit. And the last one, boom, 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 boom. Good, so we have the keyboard and we have pretty much everything. Now if we look at the reference, the only thing missing is actually this border over here and those pipes. I will not make those pipes because I think you can make them by yourself. But for this one, for this bevel, I'm going to actually show you how to make it. Right now, this is not possible with Fluent. So you actually need to edit the geometry yourself with the Blender basic bevel. The issue is that if you go to edit mode, it is actually a plane. And you are like, okay, but how do I do that? To do that is actually pretty simple. You need to make your object destructive. So that's why I'm doing it at the end. I'm going to just press F, and then here, if you see the autocomplete, we can actually hold Alt and click on this button, and this will apply, you see here, all the modifiers except the outer bevel and the normal. So just this, see? So now if we go to edit mode, we can see the real geometry. So we can just select the edge like this by doing Alt click and then Alt Shift click to select the other part. And now we can just press Control B and then decrease the number of segments by 1. And I think this is good. So now, as you can see, we have the result that we wanted. So we can just go back to object mode, and this is working pretty well. So sometimes you have to know that you need to go destructive with your objects. And what the autocomplete does is actually not destroying your original object. You can see here, it created a frozen version. So this is a destructive version. But if I hide this one and show this one again, then this one, you can see here the modifiers are still here. So let's say I've made a mistake and I say, oh no, I want to adjust this cut, but now it is autocomplete. So you can just hide this one, show this one, and now you are able to change everything. Because if I move this on X, for example, then it's working. So that's a cool trick. Notice that if you made some changes here on your frozen object, you will need to delete it and autocomplete again this one after you made those changes, because you need to go destructive. So yeah, that was it for this hatch tutorial. I hope you enjoyed, and see you on the next one.